What's up, Facebook Live? Nice to see you. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully you're doing something amazing today and really enjoying yourself. Hopefully you've been living your passion and making a difference in the world, or growing a phenomenal business, building schools, having fun with your family. I don't know what you've been doing all day, but hopefully it's awesome. Now, welcome as you're tuning in. I'd love to know 3 things you are grateful for and where you're tuning in from. Speaking of which, let me pull this up and share it a few times. So welcome, I see the number populating there. Love to know where you're tuning in from and 3 things about today that you're grateful for. I know that those of you who have been participating, go a little broad. Grateful for life, grateful for random stuff, but let's get specific. What about today are you grateful for? So something awesome that happened today in your life, in your business, in your friendships, in your health, that you're really, really, truly grateful for. Not an event. Sharing your timeline. Let me hit share there. Welcome as you're tuning in. Love to know, number 1, where you're tuning in from. Number 2, I want to know 3 things you are grateful for. How to share is right down there. Alexis, nice to see you. Kent, driving and listening. That is dangerous, my friend. I appreciate listening. No need to type. Please, hands on. I think they say now keep your hands down here instead of up here so the airbag doesn't pop you in the face. Stuart, nice to see you in the Outer Banks and the Wright brothers. Oh, grateful for the Outer Banks and the Wright brothers. Very cool. At least we can fly now. That's awesome. Let's see. Sharing a group. Live It Book Club. We'll throw it in there. Matthew, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. Welcome. Write down in the comment section. Love to know, number 1, where you're tuning in from. Number 2, 3 things you are grateful for. All you got to do is type it around there. I'd love to know some specifics about today. So when I ask what are you grateful for, get specific. Today. What about today? Something that happened, somewhere you went, someone you hung out with, but what today happened that made you really feel grateful? I would love to know as we are sharing this in groups real quick, and then we would jump right into today's conversation. Welcome everyone who's tuning in. So if I have to remind you, I was doing a podcast today sharing some stats. If I have to remind you, Duke University figured out that 40% of what we do every single day is not a conscious decision, but more so a repetitive habit that's built into our nervous system, something we've done over and over again, and therefore we're not even cognitively aware of it. Now, what's fascinating, Curtis, welcome from Naples. Brandon, grateful for family, friends, and life. Awesome. Here's what's fascinating. So if 40% of what you do every single day is not a conscious thought, but a habit that's built into your nervous system, I'm going to start off by asking, what positive habits do you currently have in your life right now? And what not so great habits have you accidentally built into your life? Jameson from Boston, grateful for the first day of summer. Haha. To-do list and exercise. Matthew, I'm grateful for my beautiful and productive day I had working on my new book. Awesome. Congratulations. Great work there. Marcus from St. Louis, Missouri, grateful for health, family, and meditation time. Awesome. Curtis, grateful and blessed for my amazing son. Wonderful. Welcome. Thank you for all the participation here. So here's what's totally and radically fascinating. Let's just start with this statistic. 40% of what you do every single day is not an actual cognitive thought. It's literally a repetitive action you've done that's built into your nervous system. You got to remember, there's a guy that says neurons that fire together wire together. All that means is the more you do a repetitive task, the more myelin sheath is piled on around the neurons, which causes it to fire quicker and easier, and therefore it becomes easier for your body to effortlessly go into that rhythm and consistency. Tommy, nice to see you. Thankful it was hot. Yes. Thankful to hang out with my kids. Thankful for the mindset and appreciation today. Very cool. Of appreciation today. I like that. So welcome. And so what's interesting is I would love to know, if you took out a pen and paper real quick, let's just take account and figure out what's going on in your life. But take count real quick. Health. What is the best habit you've built in your health thus far? that literally you do every single day. You don't have to think about it. It's part of who you are. It's just something that happens again and again and again and again and again and again because you've built the great habit. Marcus says, good habit is reading. Bad habit, sleeping late. Oh, you need to read a book from my friend Sean Stevenson. Let me grab a copy of it real quick. Oh. For any of you people who need some help on sleep, definitely go pick up a copy of this book. It's called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. 21 Essential Strategies to Sleep Your Way to a Better Body, Better Health, and Bigger Success. It's filled with all kinds of data and information specifically on sleep and how to maximize it. Let's see. CrossFit, awesome. Very cool. Elishama? Cool name. Hi, Jairek. Blistering, Chandler, Arizona. Grateful to be able to work from home, having the motivation to work out this morning, having patience while working on building a positive outlook. That's awesome. Stuart, hydration. Hello from Brooklyn. Marcus is health. I drink a lot of water. That's a great habit. Good habit. Waking up with the sun. That's awesome. Zach, nice to see you. Good morning. Anna, nice to see you. So what we're talking about right now is we're going to take just an account of the major areas of life, and what we want to look for, really simple, is what's the best habit you've built. For me, if I were to look at my health, the best habit I've built is what Bruce just said. It's waking up in the morning and having a morning routine that helps me mentally, emotionally, and physically become the happiest, healthiest, most fulfilled version of myself first thing in the morning. Now, according to my friend Sean in his book, Sleep Smarter, if you get up in the morning and you get outside and get some sunlight, it kicks the natural rhythms of the hormonal cycles of your body kick in and start the natural process of all the moving parts in your body just by getting some sunlight first thing in the morning. Exercise first thing in the morning is the best time for it, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And what that also does is prepare you to have a great night's sleep. Now, what's awesome about that is the better you sleep, the more clear your thoughts are. There's all kinds of health benefits. It rebuilds your body, replenishes who you are. We have some friends on here who are reviewing, at least I'm seeing them clicking like to this video, who are experts in health and fitness, who are also experts in neuropsychology or neurology. So welcome, team. If at any point you hear something awesome you'd like to share some more, please throw it down in the comment section so all these awesome people tuning in can grab the information and do awesome things with it. So, hello from the beach in Florida, Jane. Nice to see you. And so this thought, first thing in the morning, that's one of my best health habits I've had for years of my life now. Now, let's also dig in, and if you have a pen and paper, you want to take some action and capture something here, let's also dig in and say, what negative habit have you picked up in your health or fitness that is keeping you from getting where you want to get? You got to remember, if you want to get to a goal, you got to think, what are the things you need to start doing every single day to get you there? You got to also think about what are the things you need to stop doing every single day that are keeping you from getting there. They're preventing you. It's like an anchor dragging behind you when you're trying to sail freaking forward. Tommy says, compulsively eating crap. Oh, I like the honesty, but there's truth there. So what would happen is if you start doing more of the stuff you need to do and less of the stuff you don't want to do, it's like you rocket yourself straight to get the results you want. Now, technically, Mark says beer. Okay. And so here's what's crazy about this stuff. Most of you all know this. So it's not like, do you understand the process? We got to go back to the statistic we started with, which is 40% of what you're doing every single day is not a cognitive decision. It's a rhythmic pattern you've built into your nervous system, which brings me to my second book. Let me go get it. So, second book, Building Powerful Positive Habits. If you want to rewire your habits, I highly recommend you get this book. It's by Charles Duhigg, called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. And so it's a very, very, very simple book that breaks down how habits work and exactly how to replace old habits with new habits. So let me see if I can find an example. It's a little picture in here. He makes it so freaking simple to understand. Let's see. So I like this little monkey. So here's how bad, let's say you identify a bad habit that you don't want. So it kind of works like this. If you can see it, let me hold this up there on the screen. Basically, a habit works because there is a cue. No, this way. Oh, there we go. There's a cue. No, other way. There's a routine, and then there's a reward. Those are the three parts to every single habit, according to Charles Duhigg and all the research here. So here's what's fascinating. If you could identify, and let me know, does anyone else have this bad habit where you hear a little ding, you immediately check your mail on your phone, and you get a reward because it's like, haha, I found something. That's literally a biological, psychological happen, because what happens is your brain starts to get a little kick of dopamine every time you check your little buzzer, binger, ding, whatever pops up. And so psychologically, you get literally biologically rewarded in your brain for doing something because you found something. Your brain's like, haha, and you get a little shot of dopamine, which makes you addicted to checking the darn thing. So I don't know about you, but I've had moments in my life where I'm walking around, cruising around, and all of a sudden I'll start reaching for my phone. And what's fascinating, I'm like, wait a minute, I catch myself. I'm like, what am I reaching for? I have the buzzer turned off, I have the vibration turned off, I have the sound turned off. Why am I reaching for it? And what I figured out was, wow, my brain picked up a bad habit of constantly checking to try to find something, because when you find something new, you get a little shot of dopamine, which is a mental, physiological reward in your brain that trains you to keep doing it. So what's fascinating about this is you got to think through and think of what rewards you've given yourself. Now, I'm seeing a lot of interesting things here. False vibrate in pocket. Yes. Fip. Fip. I don't know how to say that. I like that. Yes, I'm addicted. So here's what's fascinating. Eating for bed, people eating sugar, people eating refined crap food. Here's what's really, really fascinating. What's the book called? It's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. So we're talking about two books so far. One book that is filled with amazing routines and habits and stuff you want to do to sleep better, be healthier, be stronger, be happier, all this stuff. And the second of how to build the freaking habit. So exactly what to do to build that habit to get yourself to actually follow through. So what tends to happen, and let's see, let me find another example here of how to change a habit. He has a great set of little images in here. Let me see if I can find it. Because he talks about all the little pieces. And he has tons and tons and tons of insights here. If I can find it in the next few seconds. But basically what we're doing is I'm helping you identify what are the good habits you have. Keep doing it. What are the not so great habits you have? And let me see if I can find the chapter with a little image in here that shows you how to replace it. Because basically if I were to summarize how to do it, so people who want to build a habit to connect, to feel more personal connection, more community connection, here's what he's talking about. So the habit is there's a cue called a certain time of day, which means you go to a certain place, and then when you get there, the reward is having this beautiful, emotional connection with somebody. That's really simple to understand. When you have a bad habit, let me see if I can find the bad habit section. So when you have a bad habit, like smoking, what you want to do is, okay, I can't find it. So they talk about how they use this to change. Oh, welcome back. So here is the example. Let me see if I can zoom in real quick. We'll start off with the bad habit. So the bad habit right here is there's a cue, which is you feeling stressed out. And then there's a routine, you go smoke, and the reward is you get to feel relaxed. What they figured out was if you take the same exact cue, and this time you go drink something warm, or you go take a walk and do some breathing, and you get the same relaxing reward, all of a sudden, boom, you got rid of smoking as a bad habit. So here's what I want you to do real quick. Thinking of the same little concept he's talked about, think of the bad habit. Roger, it's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. So think of the bad habit. Brad, howdy, nice to see you. Similar to Pavlov theory. Very similar, Allison. And all this goes back to, if you were going to look at the field of psychology, this is really, really, really simply behavioral psychology. You're understanding the fact that there's some type of trigger physically that sets someone off, then it goes to, or an emotional trigger, then it goes to a physical routine the person goes through, and then there's some kind of emotional or physical reward. Very simple. It's like ring the bell, show you meat, ring the bell, show you meat. Pretty soon you get addicted. It's just simple behavioral modification if you look at it from a psychological standpoint. But I'm going to sum this up and make it really simple for you. Think of that bad habit you have, whether it's eating crap before bed, which might mean your sugar levels are low, so you might need to better adjust your meal planning throughout the day to make sure you don't have to feel like that rush. Now, here's what's crazy. When you don't sleep well, one of the first parts of your brain that gets jacked with is the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe also is something that when you can't get sugar or blood there because your body's not functioning at the fullest capacity, it makes you reach for crap food. It makes you reach for shitty food, which starts the whole cycle and makes you not sleep well. So in that book, Sleep Smarter, definitely read the chapter when he's talking about hormones and he's talking about sleep and how a sleep deprivation can cause you to make bad food decisions, reach for crap food, and it just causes a huge downward spiral. It's really worth reading. To keep going though, let's see. Jeannie says, bad habit, feeling that I failed. I do not exactly know what I had planned. Whoop, where'd it go? Feeling that I failed, did I not do exactly what I had planned? Really bad rules I've set myself up with. I participated in a half marathon, got hurt on mile 3, but went to 10 in complete pain because I refused to quit before being swept. In my head, I had failed, but when I furthest I had ever gone was 6 miles. My family think it was amazing that I failed. Jeannie, so I think you're spot on there. That's more to do with your belief system. You set up certain rules and parameters that says it has to look like this and sound like this and act like this, and if it doesn't, it's failure. And if it does, oh my gosh, it's winner or perfect or whatever you call it. So the thought process is you really got to loosen up your rules there and reset those. It sounds like you're very much aware of that. You just need to physically sit down on with paper and pen and write out your current rules, rewrite them, make them much simpler, and then you need to do some type of integration process to get it in your body. Because it's one thing to write it down and be like, oh, I'll be happy if I just give it my best. But then you get out there, you give it your best, you're like, that's some bullshit because that ain't making me happy. I didn't fucking win. And I get it, excuse the language, but there's a reality aspect of this in people who have that kind of standard in their own head. And so the secondary piece is once you've created the new rules, you have to like stand up, read it aloud, feel it. And through repetitiveness and amplifying emotion, you got to remember, according to behavioral psychologists and what are they called? Developmental psychologists, they say that past the age of 17, the only way we start forming new beliefs and new values is through something called significant emotional events. Significant emotional events are something that happens so significantly and intensely and emotionally that it jars our nervous system and rewrites a new kind of belief in our central nervous system, in our bodies, and our brain. And so the thought process becomes, if you want that to stick and not just be a good thought you had one day, but something that actually sticks in your nervous system so you start feeling it differently, you've got to viscerally get it in your body. So you got to stand up and say, listen, my old rule was complete fucking bullshit, excuse all the language, but my old rule is total bullshit, and my new rule is to do this because, well, ladies, careful where you choose to slam, but guys, I hit my chest. It won't hurt as much if you're a guy, I guess. But that thought, my new rule is to say, listen, anytime I do this or this or this, bam, then I've succeeded. And if you do that over and over and over and over again, you got to remember, going all the way back to the original phrase, neurons that fire together wire together. The more often you do something again and again and again and again and again, it's forming myelin sheath around little neuron, which makes it easier and quicker for your brain to access, which means you're going to recall it faster, which means if you pound it into your nervous system again and again and again and again and again, pretty soon you've modified the behavior, modified the cognition, and you've made this muscle stronger than the old muscle of perfectionism, and you free yourself from it. And now there, in that moment, you're freaking free, and you can enjoy running 6 miles and be like, I fucking won. Why? Because it's better than before. And that thought process, but you have to put in the work. Now, that's a hell of a lot easier when you get in an environment when everyone's doing it, because it's kind of hard to sit at home and convince yourself to get totally pumped up. Most people aren't willing to do it at the intensity it takes to really get that in your nervous system. But if you're willing to, blast some music, get in state, have some fun, and just at the top of your lungs again and again and again and again and again, build that shit into your nervous system. Good morning from Tokyo. Nice to see you. Let's see. So, Scott, great question. What is the key to prevent a relapse? Well, here's the thing. You don't do it once and hope that it's going to stick forever. My godfather co-created something called NLP, which originally was sitting down and programming people to now think and act and do the right things. The truth is, my dad came around and he's like, listen, programming's awesome, but I think it comes down to daily consistent conditioning. And I'll give you a simple little story. I remember at one point, I got addicted to coffee. Wasn't the smartest decision in the world, but there were some very cute girls who hung out in Starbucks, and I wanted to hang out with them, so I figured I'd just start drinking coffee. Again, not the smartest thoughts on earth, but I saw cute girls going there doing their homework in high school, and I'm like, ha, the key to cute women. Go to Starbucks, drink mochas, frappas, somethings. So I went in there and started ordering these things, and I drank them all the time, and I'd go there like once a day to see what cute girls were hanging out. Obviously, you know what the driving force of this period of my life was, and I was a little too excited, and so I got a small addiction to drinking way too many. That's right, conditioning. I knew if I went there every day, there was a conditioned response, which was, I found them. Drank way too many of these Frappuccino things, and at one point I remember having like the shakes in the afternoon and being like, well, that's weird. Maybe I just need a coffee. Maybe I'm tired. I don't know. Having way too freaked out. So that was fake shakes. I was pretending, but that would happen, and I had this weird feeling, so I'd run to the coffee store, hang out with the girls, drink lots of coffee, and pretty soon I started getting withdrawals. And I was like, this is not good. I have to figure out how to recondition myself out of this habit. So I figured out the trigger was me wanting social connection. The routine was drive to Starbucks, buy one of these things, and the reward was sit around with other people, hopefully good-looking ladies, and chat and connect and have fun and socialize and all this stuff. So I went, really? Shit. Well, 2 things need to happen. 1, I need to recondition my personal, mental, emotional, and physical association with coffee. So that's step 1. Step 2, I need to recondition the pattern of what's going on here. So I said, let me handle coffee first, because that seems easier, because I really love connection, if you haven't caught on to that, hanging out with me thus far. But let me recondition coffee first. So I said, what could I think? What neuro associations could I connect with coffee that would allow me to disconnect from ever wanting it? So I said, what could I think about? And I started coming up with stories, mental thoughts that I could wrap around coffee, that anytime I thought about coffee, I would immediately tell myself this story to link up a negative association, pain, uncomfort, stuff I didn't want to have happen in my life, death. And I was like, what could I link the coffee up to? And I was like, it could be good for health in some reasons and cleansing and all this other stuff. But I never wanted to touch coffee again. So if you have something you never want to do again, you got to link a lot of negative, painful, ugly, disgusting things to it mentally and emotionally so that you don't want it. So it repulses you. And so I sat down and I said, okay, let's see. -10 to +10, how much do I like coffee right now? And I was like, basically, the fact that I like the girls that are there, and I like the social connection with other friends that are there, and I like the experience of, getting to take a break from my homework, and I like all these other things. I'm like, it's kind of like a +10. Not going to lie, it's awesome. Now, If you ever felt this way and had that weird feeling, I was like, okay, I need to get it from a positive 10 to a negative 10. Negative 10, like I would rather throw up and eat my own throw up than touch another glass of that stuff. I'm like, how do I get it that far on a different physiological association? So I started off with, well, I don't like being out of control of my body, and coffee makes me out of control. I'm addicted to it, and I don't like being addicted to anything. So I'm like, okay, if I felt that I was addicted to it, how would I feel about it? I'm like, maybe a 7. Because I don't mind it. I just don't like being addicted to it. I'm like, okay, what else would I have to think about? What else would I have to feel about this coffee to not want it? And I remember I skipped a bunch of steps right here, but I'll tell you how far I went. I looked at coffee and I said, you know what? Coffee is like drinking rat poison. It's slowly killing your body. And I said, if you're going to kill yourself, you might as well just drink rat poison straight up. Now, I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying I mentally associated it. I used to call it a cup of death. And I remember I got so passionate. Every single time I'd see a cup of coffee, still to this day, I'd look at it and go, oh my God, a cup of death. Cup of death. Cup of death. And pretty soon, even to this day, I said that to myself so many times. I conditioned my head and my body that every time it sees a cup of coffee, even to this day, and I did this probably like 15 years ago, to this day, if someone walks by the cup of coffee, I'll be like, oh my God, cup of death. Now, it got really bad. Just the pendulum had swung. And it got really bad when I was in college. And I never forget, I came into a class on psychology. I sat down, and one of my friends came in, sat next to me, and she had got a brand new little Starbucks with her. She paid like $5 or something for it. She sat down, and I looked at her and I said, how could you allow yourself to drink a cup of death? And she looked at me and said, excuse me? And I said, yeah. I mean, you might as well just drink rat poison and get it over with quicker, right? And I didn't realize all the words that came out of my mouth. She literally looked at me and went, really? Took her cup of coffee, threw it in the trash, and said, there, are you happy? Now I wasted $5. Jessica, I'm sorry. I will give you back the $5 I owe you from 10 years ago. But I'll never forget what happened, because my conditioning got a little overboard, and I got so far to the other side that I started letting other people know they shouldn't be drinking a cup of death either. So yes, you can go a little overboard on this. But the thought was, I literally had taken something from way over here on the real positive side and swung the pendulum all the way onto the point that if I saw anyone else doing it, I would almost want to scold them or somehow help them free themselves from the addiction. Now, I realized that that's not the best way to live life when you're attacking people for something they're doing. Judging people and attacking people will not help you or them succeed in life. So I had to back off a little bit and kind of cool it down. So what I figured out was, in my mind, in my nervous system, it's allowed to be a cup of death. Just don't vocalize that to random people in your classes or in your community around you, because it's not up to you to make them feel bad. It's their choice if they want to do it or not. But if they do want to recondition that, if you don't want to drink cups of death any longer, you just had to condition yourself. What does that mean? Trigger. Now, here's the next part. So you got to trigger yourself. Actually, we'll get to that next. First, you got to recondition the thoughts you have about whatever it is you don't want to do anymore. So in my crazy conditioning, as far as it went, I started looking at a cup of coffee, telling myself cup of death. Looking at a cup of coffee, telling myself cup of death. Looking at a cup of coffee, thinking about rat poison. Looking at a cup of coffee, thinking about death. Looking at coffee, thinking of a cup of death. Pretty soon it links up so much that you'd show me coffee, I'd be like, death. And I don't want death, so I stay away from it. But that simple thought process of conditioning, once you've done that, now you need to, so Scott had asked, how do you prevent a relapse? Here's the key. If you really built it into your nervous system so much that you literally saw it and you said, cup of death, Jeannie, I hope it sticks, you're welcome. So if you literally saw a cup of coffee and you're like, oh my God, death, I don't want to drink death, Now you got to figure out, you can't just get rid of a habit. According to Charles Duhigg in his book, the key is to replace the habit. So going all the way back to me in high school, Jane says, oh my God, that's what I went through after my divorce. Coffee was my comfort, social and major habit, as well as meeting lots of dates. I quit and started back up again. Tough one. I justified that at least it wasn't a bar with lots of alcohol, but coffee bar with espresso. I'm relapsed queen with coffee. So exactly, you're going through the process there. And so with that thought process, hello Shady, nice to see you, welcome. With that thought process, if you ever want to recondition it, first is recondition your direct association with whatever you're trying to get rid of. My dad has an event called Life Mastery, and there are some videos they have from this person who's trying to get over eating chocolate cake that'll put you on the floor. It is amazing, amazing, because dad would take someone that literally was trying to break a bad habit for decades of their life and never could, and in about 10 minutes on stage would recondition them, and this person never touched cake again in their whole life. So if you want to go somewhere and watch this in action on stage, real life, 20 minutes, it's gone forever. The person would throw up if you talked about chocolate cake or pizza. Life Mastery, look it up. It's worth going to. It's a phenomenal experience. And at the event, they literally do this reconditioning on stage, and within 20 minutes, you'll be on the floor laughing, crying, rolling. Your stomach will hurt, and you'll probably never want to touch chocolate cake either. It's pretty crazy. But it'll show you exactly how to do this process. It's very cool. So that's the first. Recondition your direct association with the thing you don't want to do anymore. Second, think about the pattern, the 3 parts of the pattern that you were currently in. So going back to me in high school, there was the trigger. Me having a desire to not have to be stuck in a homework learning phase, me wanting to connect with people, specifically good-looking young ladies while I was in high school. I was a young guy with lots of hormones. And so that drive from wanting to disconnect, free my mind, and go connect with someone good-looking, that drive caused me to then go into a routine. Get in my car, drive to Starbucks, walk in, see who's there, say hi to everybody, get a cup of whatever, sit down, talk with lots of people, hang out, make friends, hopefully a date and possibly more, that whole concept. And the reward was all this social connection, the possibility of finding a good-looking date, all this other fun stuff going on, all this fun friends and hangout time. That's the routine. So trigger, wanting that, craving that. Routine, going through the whole rigmarole of going there, getting the coffee, sitting down, talking with everybody. The reward, social connection, fun times, possible hot date. That thought process. So you got to look back at the process and say, how do you replace it? Because back in the day, before this book was even freaking written, I figured out how to replace it. 1, change my direct association with the cup of coffee. 2, figured out how to replace the actual routine. So the trigger was the same. Tired of studying, wanted some type of release, wanted to kind of free up my attention and go do something. And I figured out, hey, wait a minute. I could minorly adjust the routine here, but do something a little bit healthier. I said, what if instead of driving to Starbucks, I drove nowadays to like the veggie juice place, the place that does fresh veggie juice. I said, there's normally people hanging out there. There's normally people to talk to. They're healthy and happy. I like that crowd. I could still possibly get a date there at that time in my life. And I was like, wait a minute. Great replacement. Same exact benefits, different location, better for my body and health. Bingo. Dunzo. That was easy peasy to replace it with. But you got to think, what's other things? I'll tell you another example. One of my little cousins, she had picked up smoking. She just had her first baby, so congratulations if you watch this, Natalie. But she had picked up the habit of smoking. And when we did this little thing together, which we did a JRC TV on this, so if you Google like Breaking a Bad Habit, Jairek Robbins, or something like that, it should bring up our episode where we have an actual worksheet you can use to go through this process of breaking a habit and replacing a habit if you want. If anyone can Google that real quick and find the link. It's like Power of Habits or something on JRC TV. Should have a blog post and a worksheet. You can find it on jrctv.com, which is our YouTube channel. You're welcome to check that out, figure out which video it is, click there, take you to our blog, grab the worksheet. It's great for this stuff. So my little cousin downloaded the worksheet. She wrote down her bad habit was smoking, and she wanted to get rid of it. So here's the other key. You have to want to get rid of it. It doesn't magically freaking disappear. So she wanted to get rid of it. She figured out what caused her to go into the routine of smoking. Here's what she figured out. So I'm going to pause right here. if you out there, thank you for all hanging out with me. If you have a bad habit you want to kick, real quick, type it down in the little comment section. What's the number one bad habit you'd love to get rid of right now? Now, this is up to you. I'm not going to tell you what it has to be, but you decide. If you have a bad habit you want to get rid of, type it down in this little comment section. While you're doing that, I'm going to do a little homework here. Let's see, Power of Habits, and see if I can find this blog post we did. I think this is it. 3 steps to build habits for success. I believe this is it. February 3rd, 2015. So here you go. I believe that's the post. Someone can grab the worksheet on there and check it out. So if you have a bad habit, there's a worksheet in there. Let's see. Marcus says, sleeping in is the bad habit. I want to stop drinking coffee, so don't drink cups of death, David. Let's see. French pressing coffee and taking the whole thing to me to work every day. Okay, Jane. Coffee seems, I'm glad I told that story. It seems to be a favorite on here. So here's the thing. In this worksheet, fast food, Marcus. So fast food, says Francesca. I started having to drink water and lemon before coffee. Wonderful. Really smart replacement there. So I'll give you, so thank you for all those people who are participating here. I really appreciate that. P.S. If you know someone who has a horrible habit that they need to kick, hit share or tag them in the comment section and tell them to come watch this video, because hopefully it'll help them kick it right now. So here's the thing. Swearing. Valerie, I don't know if I can help you with that because I swear a lot. Good to see you. Welcome. Hopefully you and your little one are having something awesome hanging out. Let's see. So if you have a bad habit you're trying to get rid of, we need to figure out real quick, and I want you to type down in the comment section, what is the trigger that sets it off? What happens in your life, in your emotions? What happens somewhere in your life, day-to-day life, that sets it off? So what is it that sets off the routine? For my little cousin, going back to her story, she found out she only smoked when she started to feel uncomfortable. And so what happened was it would start to build up tension. She would have paperwork piling up. She would start to feel uncomfortable. She would start to feel a little bit of anxiety. So it would elevate from uncomfort to anxiety. And the moment it did, she would go, oh, I need a break. That was the trigger. When her anxiety and uncomfort got so high that she felt, I need a break. That was the exact language around it. So real quick, identify what's your trigger. Brad says meal times, feeling anxiety, run to the phone. Interesting. Jane says, but it's not replacing my mindful practice to do before I drink the cup of coffee to death. Jane, great way to replace that. Matcha or maca tea. There's a certain ceremonial way of creating it, which is very relaxing. It's a little bowl. You take the little scooper, you do a little scoop, you put it in, you have a little thing, you swipe it around. It's a really nice, relaxing thing, and it actually has lots of health benefits. A little bit of caffeine, not as much as coffee. Lots of health benefits, antioxidants, all kinds of stuff. So you might want to check out matcha tea. It's like a little green bowl and a little container, and you like scoop it. It's really nice and relaxing. It's a great step in the right direction from coffee, if compared to the French press piece. Just a thought. So what's the trigger? If you're participating with us, right down here, if you have a bad habit, if you have something that consistently knocks you off track or puts you into a routine you don't like, what's the trigger? Francesca says, fast food is easy with a busy schedule and kids. Interesting set of beliefs there. Everyone else in the house is asleep. Sleep Better. We got him. Knocked him right out with that Sleep Better book. Marcus? So whatever the bad habit is, the trigger that sets you off, so overwhelm for Scott, wonderful. Now you know what the trigger is. You want to think, with this trigger, what's the specific phrase you tell yourself? What's the specific emotion that pops up? Get specific so you really know what sets this off. Hopefully this will help a lot of people on here, set you free from this. So what's the specific phrase? Francesca says, fast food is easy when you have kids that don't have time. Jeannie from Overwhelm. I hear you, Scott. Okay. Overwhelm is a consistent one. Great. So now you want to know what's the exact phrase you tell yourself. What's the exact statement you say? What's the exact word you use that causes you to click into this kind of thing? Let's see. Scott says, I'm too tired to handle this now. Interesting. So there's the exact phrase. So there's a trigger, which is overwhelm, and then there's a phrase, I'm too tired to handle this now. And I'm guessing there's like a physical thing like, probably something like that. So here's what's interesting. What's the routine? So going back to my little cousin, she'd get to this place. Her phrase was, oh my gosh, I need a break. She would stand up, and here's the exact routine. She would stand up, walk over to the door, put on her shoes, go outside, walk a little around the corner, get to the little smoking place, light a cigarette, and start to do deep diaphragmatic breathing, also called smoking. Until she relaxed. She'd put out her cigarette, come back inside, sit down and go, I feel so much more relaxed. The reward. She felt relaxed. Is this a crazy 8 cycle? It could be. Could be, depending on the other side. This is just really, truly someone caught in a rhythmic pattern of feeling stressed out. The routine is go for the cigarette, go outside, relax. The reward, completely relaxed. So it could turn into a crazy 8 or just a complete cycle that never ends if you immediately go back, get stressed out again, and then land up back outside, smoking again, and then relax. So it could crazy 8. It depends on the person. In this case, though, it happened maybe once a day, twice a day. So Jeannie says, why bother? That's her exact phrase. So thank you for participating. This helps other people who are listening in figure out what their trigger phrase is. So trigger goes off. That's overwhelmed for some people here. Secondly, it goes into the exact phrase they use, the feeling they have, how they use their physiology and body is also part of this process. Then you go into the routine. So I want to know, what's the routine? Jeannie, what routine do you go into? Scott, what routine do you go into? For some people, I want to hear what it is for you. What's the actual step-by-step routine you go into? Just like my little cousin, she would stand up, go put her shoes on, walk outside, light the cigarette, smoke the cigarette, relax and breathe, come back in, she's relaxed, and then you get the reward of relaxed. But that's the routine she would go through. So real quick, I want you to define on here in the comment section, what is the routine you go through once you set yourself off into the trigger? So I'd love to know what that routine is that you go into once you set yourself off into the trigger. Brad says, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it because some people need to kind of walk mentally through what happens. For people who aren't familiar with the crazy 8 cycle, let's see. Scott says, I don't have time for this now, so checks emails, zone out, maybe redo my to-do list, take a nap, avoid the precise or perceived discomfort. That's a very specific routine. So it sounds like so let me decode this for you psychologically and biologically. When you check emails, what reward do you get? You might get some social connection from that. You also, remember, get a little kick of dopamine when you open it. It's called searching. It's why you keep scrolling on Facebook again and again and again and again and again and again and again, because your brain's searching for new things, and every time it discovers a new thing, it gets a little kick of dopamine, and a little kick of dopamine makes you feel good. And just so people know how powerful dopamine is in the brain, is they took a little rodent, they put it in a cage. On one side of the cage, they gave it a lever that every time they touch it, kicks in dopamine in their brain. The other lever was food. Now, hate to say it, but the rat starved to death. Not because there was no food, because it sat on the lever that kicked off dopamine and just hit it again and 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 again until literally it starved to death and died, even though food was 2 steps and a lever kick away. because the dopamine is so powerful in our brain, that little neurotransmitter and chemical in our brain, that we're willing to do stuff again and again and again and again and again because it's biologically addicting to do so. It's a feel-good drug in our brain. So what happens is when you check your emails and you open up an email, if you remember this phrase, and I don't know if any of you remember this, I remember when you open up the email and go, "You've got mail," and I'd be like, "Oh, mail, all right." It's kind of like when you're traveling around the world and someone sends you a letter and you're like, "You've got mail." You're like, "Really?" I remember living in Uganda. When I get an envelope, I'd be like, "Ta-da! Coolest thing ever." And so what happens? Dopamine kicks off in your brain, fires off. It can become mentally and physically addicted to what's happening here. So let's see. Checking your email, little kicks of dopamine. Zone out. What's the biological reward of zoning out? Well, it allows your nervous system to drop down from fight or flight, tense, anxiety, all this stuff, to more relaxed. So I need that dopamine lever. I can beat any habit. Interesting thought process, Bruce. So this next piece, zoning out, I'll give you something to do instead of zoning out that would allow you to relax much quicker. And everyone who's watching, you could do this with me real quick and really truly just feel the difference. So if you gave yourself a rating in tension, anxiety, how you feel right now, what I'll show you how to do is I'll show you how to instantaneously relax yourself. It's a very, very simple thing to do. So what I want you to do is, I don't drink wine, but a friend of mine taught me this, who's a breath expert. What I want you to do is imagine holding a glass of wine, and imagine this is like a €1,000 glass of wine, or $1,000 glass of wine, like really expensive freaking wine. I don't know why it costs this much, but it's old and it's expensive for some reason. So hold the glass and imagine, so right now, kind of work out your body, feel how you feel, give yourself a rating 0 to 10 of how much energy, how calm you are, how relaxed you are, and see what happens in just a few moments here. So what I want you to do, hold this glass of wine right here. Go ahead, hold it up. And then I want you to pretend you sniff it real slow, like kind of like this. It'd be like, and you keep bringing in air, and at the very top, like suck in a little more air, and hold it, and then 1, 2, 3, breathe out like this in one giant breath. So, and what you do is open your mouth and allow all the air to come out of your mouth in one foul swoop, just like, all out. And what I want you to do, drop your shoulders and drop your head and your whole body. So real slow, breathe in. At the top, sip in a little bit more and hold it. And what you got to do is you got to let all the air out, and you got to drop your whole nervous system at the same time, your whole physical body. And what it's doing is it's resetting your entire nervous system. So let's do it 2 more times. Ready? 1 more time. A little bit more. Okay, 1 more time. Now, real quick, how do you feel? For most people, dragon breath, qigong, exactly. So for most people, what lands up happening is you're resetting your nervous system here. You're getting yourself out of fight or flight. You're getting yourself into what Brad says, completely refreshed. So literally, that moment, let me scroll back up and see. So first, emails. So zoning out. Instead of just zoning out and going, instead of just doing that, do these little breaths. And as people are writing, Jeannie feels relaxed, Brad feels refreshed. Within a couple breaths, like boom, you're back, and it regenerates you. Let's see, maybe redo my to-do list. So this is something where instead of a to-do list, step back and ask yourself the question. It's real simple. Just a little replacement, Scott, that hopefully could help. So 1, realize checking your mail gives a little kick of dopamine. What else could you do that would give you a bigger kick of dopamine, or even oxytocin, which is just as strong, and it actually offsets the cortisol levels in your body, which is a stress hormone. So one thing you could do, if you have friends nearby, family nearby, if you work from home, like go find your kids or wife or somebody or a puppy and snuggle or hug someone for a few minutes, and it kicks off oxytocin, which pulls down the cortisol levels in your body and allows you to feel more comfortable, relaxed, and instantaneously offsets the stress levels that are spiking up. Number 2, do breaths like that we just talked about, and boom, it drops you right back out of that place. Scott, I love this example. Figure out what I need to do will help someone else. Awesome. Random acts of kindness, again, kicks off oxytocin in your body, in another person's body, and in anyone who observes its body as well. It's a beautiful thing you can do to reset your nervous system in that moment if you feel too stressed. Sergio, welcome, buddy. Nice to see you. So let's see. Avoid the perceived discomfort. So here's the last thing you could do. If it's a perceived discomfort, now just like you wired up the negative stuff to the things you don't want to do, wire up a bunch of really positive stuff to the things you want to do. So instead of cup of death, be like, cup of life. This is my fountain of youth. The moment I get this done, boom, that's the catalyst to everything I want to achieve today. I'm going to feel amazing. I'm going to be able to give more, do more, achieve more. This is going to be incredible. I can't wait for all these incredible feelings on the other side. Let's do it now. Now, you don't have to be that crazy or excited yet. You can be. And you get yourself so fired up and so revved up that literally, boom, you go get it done right now. And what's interesting, so Jeannie says, exactly, I need to do something. Physically jump around, dance, get into an awesome state. Perfect. So that could be a great moment to go to what NASA refers to as one of the best exercises in the world, which is a little rebounder. That little bouncing for 4 or 5 minutes, listening to your favorite music, saying affirmations or incantations out loud, and boom, you click yourself right into action. So what I refer to this is as refilling and refueling. What does it mean? 30 minutes of total focus time, and then a 5-minute break to fill up your gas tank emotionally, reset your nervous system, get yourself into the strongest mental, emotional, physical place possible, and boom, get right back into the race of life. So in that moment when you catch yourself feeling overwhelmed, shut it down, get to a rebounder, do some bouncing, do some breathing, drop your nervous system, give someone a hug, go to a random act of kindness, think of all the amazing benefits that are going to happen when you complete the task at hand, and then go, 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 and jump right back into the race. Just a thought. So replace the pattern. And then the final step. We have not lost track. The final step is give yourself the emotional reward at the same level, if not even higher, for doing the new routine versus the old routine. So you got to go all the way back and think, what was the psychological, physical, or emotional reward you received by doing the old routine? Whatever it was, right now, give yourself that reward at an even higher level for doing the new, healthier, happier, more fulfilling routine, and boom, you're linking up a new habit. Now, how do you get it to stick? You got to condition it every single day, again and again and again and again and again, until it's second freaking nature. So, going back to the original topic of the day, I got a little off track, but here's what we're talking about. If you ever get knocked off track, if you ever say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to step up and I'm going to get it done, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick back into gear. Scott says feeling like I'm back in control, even briefly, was the reward. There you go. So take control of how you feel. Get in a powerful state. Do some breathing. Calm your nervous system. Take back control in that moment. Use your personal power. You might even awaken the giant from within, and boom, you're right back in control. No, I'm not mocking him. It was great titles of those books, and they're very useful, and they talk about all this stuff in conditioning. Speaking of which, if you don't or aren't familiar with this kind of stuff, you can go buy The Power of Habit, or you can stick with my family and go buy a book called Awaken the Giant Within, or I think it's Unlimited Power. And he talks about this neuroassociative conditioning stuff, and you can instantly condition yourself to do the great stuff you want to do every single day. Simple, easy peasy right there. So that thought. Jeannie says, forgot about the rebounder. Thanks for the reminder. You're so welcome. David says, lovely, with a smiley face. Perfect. So here's a thought. I challenge you right now to apply what we've been talking about. If you have a bad habit you're trying to kick, if you have something you're trying to get rid of, do the negative association to it mentally and emotionally and physically wire up. You got to think of repetitiveness again and again and again. You rewire your physical behavior and thought process to link up negative stuff to that thing you want to stop. Immediately figure out what the trigger is, what specifically the words, the phrase, the feeling is, what the routine is, what the reward is. Take out the old routine, put in a new, healthier routine that helps you become happier, healthier, more fulfilled version of you. And then every day, say for the next 10 days, you promise yourself you're going to condition it every single day, no matter what, to get yourself back to the place you really want to be. So that is today's little episode. Hopefully it's useful. If you believe you know someone who could use this, click the share button and tag them in it down in the comment section and make sure they come and watch it. Tell them you have to watch this to make sure that they get it and apply it. Hopefully this is useful. I'm going to stick around for 2 or 3 more minutes here because I have to go get packed. My wife and I are about to have 2 months on the road. So got to get it all there. Jamie, step up, take action, change your patterns. Quit looking in the rearview mirror while driving forward. That's right, Jamie. I like the passion. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Marcus, great episode. Thank you, sir. Always nice to hear that. If you think it's useful, if you think it's something someone else could use, please click that share button. Help us spread the love around. Not seeing any questions come through. Thank you. I needed the motivation and accountability. You're welcome. Glad to help. Oops. Not that button, that button. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Bruce says, thanks, Jairek. You're so welcome, Bruce. Nice to see you. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions coming through. That means y'all are having a great day. Awesome as always, Sergio. Thank you, sir. Glad to be of service. If you found these useful or you found these to be something awesome, please click that share button. If you happen to be in the San Francisco area, let me know because we're going to be up there for a month and we're going to look for some fun things to do and fun people to hang out with. Anna, brilliant. Really need that right now. So welcome. I could be of service. Glad to hear it. And that's it. I'm out for the day. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, day, wherever you are at. And I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow. Peace.